Hello, so we are back again with Johnny just to continue our conversation from yesterday. So for those of you who don't know, my name is Leena Parmar. I am the founder of Citrus Connect Recruitment, and I am here today with Jonathan Norton, one of the Divisional Sales Managers, from one of our dearest clients, Hammonds Fitted Furniture. So yesterday we talked about the culture at Hammonds. Today I really and the sales designer role. Today I really want to talk about what is an ideal day for a sales designer. Our candidates really want to sometimes get into the shoes of someone doing the job so that they can see themselves either doing it or not. You know, part of the recruitment process is to rule yourself out as well as to rule yourself in. So our audience and candidates would love to know, what does an ideal day look like for a sales designer?
Okay, so I think it varies by designer. I mean, what I enjoyed as a designer was starting at 11 is a very reasonable time to start. It means you're missing the traffic. So you're going to be setting off for work at about 10 o'clock in the morning, unless you pre-booked another appointment. So it meant that I could always take my children to school.
Okay.
For 10 o'clock, which was a really nice thing, and it means that you're missing rush hour traffic, but you're also getting customers at a nice time in the morning. 11's is always a nice time for a cup of coffee and a good conversation piece. You know what I mean? We've got a huge range of different customers that come to us, so you've got a nice relaxed start to the day. You're then going out to an appointment, which will be, like I said in the previous one, that within a 50-mile to 1 hour radius of your home address.
Yeah.
You will then do your appointment, which we discussed in yesterday's one of these, that will take you through the entire process. You can dictate how many of those appointments you sit in a day. So if you wanted to do an 11 and a 7, split your day up so that you could spend some time with the children in the afternoon after they finish school, and then go and do an evening appointment, or you wanted to do just an evening appointment, or you just wanted to work weekends, it can really allow you to have complete flexibility over your life. Okay. While still earning a decent income, so that the day really varies. Some of my guys will work 3 appointments a day, so they have like an hour or 2 off in between appointments. And if you're close to home, that means you can go home, spend a couple of hours at home, drive back to the next one, or you can stay out. You might pop into one of our showrooms, because we've got 3 around the southeast, go and do some work, do some catch up. You might have your chase calls that you diarize that in between appointment times, to be able to speak to your customers that you've already seen who maybe haven't been in a position to buy yet, so you can follow those up. But you are your own boss in terms of this process, so you can really manage the day as to how you want it to be successful for you. Okay. We will obviously give guidance to you in terms of how to chase, when to chase, what to do with that spare time, and making the use of the showrooms, because the showrooms are a really fantastic tool for us, which not all operators have. Especially when you've got 3 within an hour's drive time of pretty much the entire area that I cover. So you really utilize those spaces to be able to do some work that might be, maybe you don't have the space at home to work at home, or you just need some space where it's quiet and it's a bit more work orientated. Some people need that, you know what I mean? Working from home isn't easy, but having the space to be able to go out and do that elsewhere is a really nice place, and you're not alone. You know what I mean? We've got demonstrators in stores, we've got other designers in stores, so you're never going to be alone. Sometimes I'm in stores, so there'll always be somebody to just have a chat with, a bit of banter with, and sometimes that's just what the difference between being lonely and just feel like you're fighting this thing by yourself, to just having somebody to just have a quick chat with, and pick up the phone to, or see in person. It's a really nice place to be.
It's a really good point that you pick up on, actually, because a direct sales role, self-employed, can be quite a lonely affair, can't it? And the plus with Hammonds is that you have those showrooms, so they can really plug in to a network which isn't just a phone call. It's actually can be face-to-face, tangible interaction, which I think is really beneficial. one thing that I do want to touch upon, and I would love your opinion on this, is a lot of people are looking at self-employed sales roles for the first time with no previous, sometimes knowledge and or experience. And often people are misguided and or misinformed about the pros, you know, and the possibilities and the potential of a self-employed direct sales role. How would you, you know, in your own words, Johnny, for you, what is the potential of a self-employed sales designer role or a direct sales role?
But I think when you look at these roles and you see it as commission only, I think it can just send fear of, I'm never going to pay my bills, what if I have a terrible month? And those fears are real, you know what I mean? I've sensed them, but the reality is I wish I'd found self-employed direct sales about 15 years ago, rather than 10 years ago, or no, probably even 25 years ago now. I'm not as old as I thought. I'm older than I thought I was. I think the flexibility you can get and the earning opportunity you can get whilst getting the freedom to be your own boss, do your own thing, but be supported by usually a national business or a localized business can really help you grow as a person. It really encourages your entrepreneurial spirit, you know what I mean, in terms of how you can function your own business whilst earning a good wage, but by delivering service that you know you can deliver. I think that the amount of red tape that I've had within business to business sales in previous roles, there is none of that. You know what I mean? It's very much you can approach this in your own way to get the best result for you. We've obviously got a sales plan that we encourage you to follow, but it's not scripted. You know what I mean? It's just steps. You can use your own words to fill in the gaps, but it's just steps to take you through the entire sales process. And I find that some places don't offer the level of earnings that you can get from a self-employed direct sales job, or the level of scope in terms of where you can go with it. You know what I mean? In terms of, because sometimes with products you can either buy them or you can't, but with us you can. There could be a 40% price difference between the top range and the bottom range, you know what I mean, in terms of price, but actually the functionality remains the same. So it becomes very easy to either downsell or upsell, to be able to make the most of each customer whilst not flogging something that you don't want. You know what I mean? It's something that somebody wants. And I would encourage people from all walks of life to try this. You know what I mean? I think that when you're doing business to business sales, the one thing I didn't really like about B2B was that you're encouraging somebody to spend not their own money.
Yes.
When you're spending direct to the end consumer, there is huge investment in it because it's their own hard-earned money. It's not the business's money, it's theirs. And it's something that's going to last the lifetime of their house. I mean, we go into houses and they've got 40-year-old Hammonds Furniture and it's outlasted everything, and they just want to change it because maybe it's looking a bit dated, but actually it's still perfectly functional. So I think I think there's so much potential with the role, and I think the ability to work more than just 40 hours a week, but actually getting paid for it, you know what I mean, or work less and be able to get a full-time income from not working, or working full-time but not in full-time hours. I mean, it's just not 9 to 5 Monday to Friday. You can use weekends, and do you know what, I used to love having a couple of days off during the week. It used to just fill me with joy because it's so quiet everywhere. It's so quiet and nobody else is around. You can get things done, and it's joyful. So I really encourage just a different way of thinking about the whole role and the whole piece, and seeing what it can do for you as a person. You've got to be self-motivated, you've got to be keen to grow, but know there is a support network around you to be able to get you to where you want to be.
Absolutely. And it's all about that personal financial sovereignty. You know, people feel that an employed role is secure and self-employed possibly the opposite. However, I think post-COVID, we have really changed our mindset around that. And all people really want is an opportunity to maximize their earning potential, but put that sovereignty back in their own hands instead of relying on somebody else to give it to them. And I think a self-employed commission-only opportunity is absolutely the way to do that, for sure. So you talk about a lot of the support and the mentoring. Just talk to us a little bit about the training that a sales designer would receive to get them to a point of being competent in what they're doing.
Cool. Okay, so our training is done in a few different parts, really. So we've got the main crux of our training is a 2-week residential course. First week's in Nottingham, second week's in Leicester. That's fully funded by us. The delegate just needs to pay for their fuel to get there and back. We'll provide everything they need. So we'll feed them, water them, make sure they've got all the training materials they need. And that's delivered by our training academy, which is part of the business.
Okay.
So there are people that have done the job previously. They're all previous designers, previous successful designers, so they understand what it is that you need to be able to succeed off the course. So you spend a lot of time learning about CAD, and learning about the sales process, learning about the furniture, learning about the sizes, so that you, once you come off that course, you can then sit an appointment. So that's the crux of the course. We also do a day one. So it's over a 12-day period, the course. So day one is a week before the course, and that is in a local store, and that's to make sure that you've got all of your IT equipment set up, make sure you've got your scale ruler, show you the basics of ArchiCAD, so that over the weekend before you start the course, you can have a bit of a play. Because it's all about practice, it really is, it's not a skill thing. The more you practice, the easier it becomes. It's drag and drop, it's fairly basic stuff, but it just means that you can, the quicker you can function, the easier it is to engage with the customer at the same time, because they want a speedy resolve to their storage woes, you know what I mean? So they just want to know what can happen. And then the last bit of the course is you've just got a day on Zoom, which is just summarizing what you've learned on the course and give you an opportunity to catch up on anything you've missed or ask any further questions. You then do an assessment with your DSM, which would be me in the Southeast, on the Tuesday, which isn't a pass or fail. It's really just to assess at what level you're at now, what help do you need. And then what I like to do is either offer you 2 choices. You can either go out and sit your first appointment by yourself, or you can go out and shadow somebody, or I can come out with you. You know what I mean? There's so many different ways that we can work it, and it really depends on the person. I find that most like to go out on the first appointment just by themselves, just to try and sort of embrace all of the things they've learned and try and put it into practice, because it's very easy to come up with something in their classroom environment, but when it's different and you haven't, you're taking the measurements yourself, it becomes very different. So to have additional pressure can be quite hard. And my goal for all new delegates is just to get through that first appointment. Don't pull out, just go through, make sure you get through the entire process. Whether you'll sell it or not at that stage is not irrelevant, but it's sort of irrelevant. You know, you just want to know that you can do the entire process, not be concerned about the end result, because the end result will be what the end result is. It's about getting to that point. And 9 times out of 10, that result ends up in a sale.
That's amazing on the first appointment.
It's amazing to see, because it's not we're not selling something that's really complex. When you're looking at fitted furniture, you've got to account for what furniture is already in the room, a door, a window, a couple of doors, you know what I mean? So it actually limits where things can go. So it becomes, and once you know where things can go and you know what a customer wants to store and how they want to store it, actually the design aspect becomes relatively simple. And it's just about making sure that the customer is completely happy with the choices they've made. So I think it's a really nice way and a really low impact way of making a good income and enjoying the time with the customers. Every designer that I've got with the business, of course, we all have our frustrating times, but they love the job. They love the customers they see. They love going out, drinking tea, talking about nice colors, talking about color palettes, talking about how people do their furniture, looking at really lovely houses. I mean, there's definitely worse ways of earning a good income.
Fantastic. Well, if you are interested in joining Hammonds, click on the button below. It will take you straight through to an application form where one of our consultants at Citrus Connect will be in touch with you. Have a great day. See you tomorrow.